Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, we heard the very sad news about our two beloved sisters and beloved brother who were murdered in cold blood, shot dead at Chapel Hill over in the States. Now, okay. You see, whenever something like this happens, obviously we as Muslims become very disheartened because we can see a clear double standard and a hypocrisy in the way that when Muslims are murdered, it's publicized in the news. For example, Fox News, all they had on their homepage was 3 people dead in Chapel Hill. Didn't even mention that they were Muslim. If this was a Muslim, of course, we all know what it would have been, and you know, terrorism and whatever, and straight away. But look, I was lying down in my bed, like I remember in the morning I got this text from Brother Ajmer from Aki Films, and I was just contemplating. I was like, okay, I have to make a video on this topic. And I was thinking to myself, what do I say? And immediately I was thinking of like some kind of a campaign to do online, some kind of a media frenzy, you know. Then it hit me, I was like, we've done that. The Daily Mail thing, you guys remember? Kathy Newman recently from Channel 4, remember that? Yeah, LBC, we've done it, man. Didn't make no difference. And why should it? Because to sign petitions and protest and Twitter storms, hashtag, you know, blah blah blah, it's not going to solve the problems of the ummah. We are all in agreement about one thing. There is an ijma amongst the Muslims, a consensus, that we are in a state of utter humiliation. We have been lowered. But there is a disagreement with regards to how we can uplift ourselves. This disagreement comes when people who don't have a knowledge or an understanding of the religion begin to talk. Ya ikhwatul iman, take your seats and let the kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do the talking. You have to understand that this is not the first time that the Muslims have been disgraced. It happened before, brothers and sisters. At the time of Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah, for almost a century the Muslims had been violated. The Crusaders came into Bayt al-Maqdis and 70,000 people they murdered in cold blood. They took children and they skewered them like a kebab. They literally skewered them over a fire. One Parisian crusader, he boasted by sending a letter back to the Pope saying that today we have slaughtered them, and and the blood is running up to our ankles high in heathen blood. They used to call the Muslims heathens. It would flow on the streets up to their ankles. But the Muslims got out of that. The same thing happened with the Mongolians not too long after. Brothers and sisters, billah alayk, ponder with me. The situation was so bad that a Mongolian woman would be able to come in front of a strong Muslim man. She would take his sword. She would take his sword off him, put it down. She would take his sword off him, put it down, tell him sit down. Wait here. I'm going to be right back. Then she would tell him, I'm going to go home, bring my sword, then I'm going to kill you. And the situation of the Muslim man would be such that he would not dare to move, knowing that this woman's going to go back, pick up a sword, come and cut him. He wouldn't be able to move. And she would go and come back and kill him. Because he knew if he tried to do anything of the sort, his family would be violated or whatever. Brothers and sisters, it's not been the first time the Muslims are suffering like this. And this is actually a walk in the park compared to how it was before. But brothers and sisters, I'm not trying to belittle your efforts. Billah alayk, please, just ponder with me. The Muslims didn't get out of that struggle by Twitter storming and signing petitions. There was only one thing that got them out of it. They returned back to the Quran and the Sunnah, and they started to obey Allah. They returned back to Tawheed, the Sunnah, and obedience. This was the call of the messengers. This was what the Prophet ﷺ called us to. Worship the one Lord, only Him alone. Follow His Sunnah and be in obedience to the two of them. Brothers and sisters, Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah, he looked at his army. He looked at these men. He said, Allah's not going to give you victory. I'm not taking an army like this into battle. He made it a condition that would have to memorize at least 2 juz from the Quran. He made them worshippers. They would have to pray the night prayer, to the extent that on one occasion, one night before the battle took place, he came out to look at his camp. All the soldiers in their tents, the lights would be on because that was a sign they were praying Qiyam al-Layl. There was one tent where the light was turned off. So that was an indication that that man was sleeping and he wasn't praying. Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah, he came out and he pointed to that tent and he said, Wallahi, if we lose tomorrow, it will be because of this one person here. That was Salahuddin Ayyubi. But then there was also the Mongol invasion, as I mentioned. Brothers and sisters, the people, when they began to revolt against the Mongols, they would pick up their, listen to this, Ya ikhwatul iman, billah alayk, listen to this, listen to this, billah alaykum, please, listen to this. They would pick up their weapons, and Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah would walk up to them. He would take the sword from their hands, put it on the ground, and say, Wallahi, you're not going to win. Wallahi, you can bring all the men and the soldiers that you want. Wallahi, you're not going to win. Because you haven't come with the reason for Allah to give you victory. Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he taught the people, he educated them, sit down, let me embed this religion into you. Aqidatul Wasitiyah, Hamawiyah, and all the other books that he wrote. And then, when the people were at a stage where they were ready, spiritually speaking, then he rounded them up. He went to Egypt, spoke to the ruler. Ibn Daqiq al-Eid was the scholar that was there, the Mufti of Egypt, rahimahullah, and gathered everyone against the Mongols. Why am I telling you all of this? Brothers and sisters, the reason why I'm telling you all of this is because when I went onto my social media to look at the way the Muslims were responding to what happened to our beloved sisters and brother over in the States, Wallahi, it hurt me. All that they were doing was complaining about how the media doesn't publicize these issues properly. That's all the Muslims had to say. The problem is not with the media. It's not with the media. The problem is in our hearts. I'm telling you, just look. Let me give you this ayah. Surah Al-Imran. Read with me. Ayah number 18. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, read with me. This is the media. We can rather apply this to the media. Allah describes them, then He tells us how we should be in return. A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim. Look, we should look, brothers and sisters. Go back to this book every time. Why don't you go back to this book? The Prophet ﷺ said, it's through this book Allah will honor you. It's through this book He will humiliate you. Go back to it. Our honor is here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا بطانة من دونكم لا يألونكم خبالا ودوا ما عنتم قد بدت البغضاء من أفواههم وما تخفي صدورهم أكبر. Allah says that it's become clear their hatred for you, their vehement hatred for you. It's become clear. Look at what they say out on the news. There's a judge who came on Fox News who's openly saying, kill them. We need to kill them all. It's become clear. Banning the niqab. It's like they're saying, Wallahi, we're going to draw the Prophet ﷺ now. Now we're going to draw him. They're swearing, taking oaths. Now we're going to draw him now. Now we're going to mock him. It's not even, it's something that's hidden anymore. And Allah is saying what has become apparent is nothing. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look, وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورُهُمْ أَكْبَرُ. What is inside of their hearts, in their chest, is even worse. And Allah knows. What they're saying is nothing. The way they have enmity towards you is even worse. Then Allah continues, subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِذْ خَلَوْا عَضُّوا عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَنَمِ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ. Then in the next ayah, Allah continues. He expands on really how much hatred that they have towards us. And for me, this is exactly how the media behaves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا خَلَوْا عَضُّوا عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَنَمِ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ. Out of anger, they take their fingers and they bite into their fingers out of anger and rage against you. It's like when they turn back and they go back, they come to you in your face, they tell you we're on your side. It's equal human rights, freedom of speech. But when they go behind your back, they want to bite their fingers off. That's how angry and how much they hate you. But then look now, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights to us how they are towards us and the implications that can come when it's become so apparent how they really feel towards us, then Allah tells us the solution. Allah tells us what we can do. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, you know what's upsetting me the most is that when I mention this ayah to you, the evidence has been established to you. And if you don't take heed, the saddest thing is that I may have to be a witness against you on the Day of Judgment. That Allah, the ayah was put clear to them. So a part of me, Allah, I don't even want to tell you the ayah. But I have to tell you, because otherwise more Muslims are going to die. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when they behave like that to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا. Be patient. وَتَتَّقُوا. Come with taqwa. لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ كَيْدُهُمْ شَيْئًا. Allah says, you know what? If you come with these two things, their planning and their plotting won't harm you in the slightest. They won't be able to touch you. They can rave and rant on the media all they want. Allah will protect you. وَاصْبِرُوا. What does it mean to be patient? Patience is of three types. Patience in obedience. Remember, look, brothers, if you really care, all of you that are hashtagging or tweeting, whatever, if you really care, then this is where you pay attention. This is what you do. This is how you avenge the death of your brothers and sisters and all the others in the Muslim world. Patience is of three types. Patience in obedience. What does that mean? To be patient when Allah asks you to obey Him 5 times a day. Pray. He tells you it's hard for you to wake up at Fajr. Be patient upon that obedience. Fast. Lower your gaze. Be patient over disobedience. When disobedience comes your way, be patient over it. Like I told you, if a woman comes your way or a guy comes your way, he's flirting with you. If he's coming your way, you're in a relationship. No, it's going to be hard for me to let go of my boyfriend. But you know why I'm going to do it? Because patience is the key to victory right now. And I have to be patient over this disobedience. And the last kind is patience in terms of calamity. When a musibah comes your way, distress, be patient. Be patient. Taqwa was taqwa. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he said, taqwa is like a man walking through a thorny bush, thorny pathway. He will walk very slowly, keeping his clothes very near to him, to make sure the clothes don't get caught and he doesn't get pricked on the way. And it's inevitable that he'll get pricked, and when he does, he's going to be even more careful because he just hurt himself. He's going to take every step careful. He said that is taqwa with Allah, where you walk on this path, this life. We don't have thorns but sins and fitna and temptations, and sin and disobedience is all around us. But every step that you take, every word that you speak, everywhere that you look, every move that you make, you're conscious Allah's watching you. So you walk and speak carefully, and you go places and you do things carefully so as to not disobey Allah. And you will disobey Him because you're not perfect. And then when you do, you're even more careful. I went there that day and I started talking to this guy, and he asked me for my number. I know that I shouldn't be going to places like that or being open like that. You're even more careful next time. Brothers and sisters, just come with patience, obey Him in whatever He told you, and fear Him. That's taqwa, is to fear Him. I promise you Allah will uplift these calamities from us. Billah alaykum, ya ikhwatul iman, it is better for you to stand the night in prayer than to sign 100,000 petitions. It's literally, I feel, if Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah would say, he would walk up to all of us and disconnect and tell us, shut down your Twitter accounts, shut down everything. It won't do anything. Come back to the masjid. Come back to the masjid. The front row, Salatul Fajr, and Allah will help us and honor us. That's what I have to say. Only thing I will request is please share this video, like this video, and if you guys get an opportunity, if you're around in East London on Friday, please make it to the event that I have. Yes, I know the event is entitled Where's My Bay, and it's like a love marriage kind of event, but understand that I know the youth and the problems they go to, and my goal is always to link people back to worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obedience to Him. This issue of love in fitna is a big problem. If you find yourself that is an area where you're disobeying Allah when it comes to the opposite gender, please be at this workshop, because you'll learn not only how to find a solution away from it, but it will directly link you back to what I've spoken about today. So the link for that's going to be below as well, inshallah. Don't go out and do this Valentine's Day rub. It's okay if you're a sinner. I'm a sinner too, man. The only difference between us is maybe that Allah covered my sins if you don't know what I really get up to. But I'm trying to fear Allah, and I hope that you will help me and we will help each other fear Allah. If you can make it to the event, like I'm telling you, if your fitna is the opposite gender, please be at the event. If you have a boyfriend, if you really care about the ummah and you're sinning and you're doing things like watching pornography, just be at that workshop in East London tomorrow, and the link is below. I'm sorry, man, like, I don't even know what to say, man. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.